in Baldur's Gate, and we're going to focus on BG1, because when I say Baldur's Gate, I kind of just think the whole saga, right? We're doing 1, we're doing Siege, we're doing 2, which is really BG3. BG2 also really kind of has Throne, so that's really kind of BG 2.5. But if it's 1, Siege, 2, isn't it really 1, 2, 3? So 3.5. I mean, it's kind of all over the place. But focusing on BG1 right now to ask this question, and again, no spoilers in terms of quests or named magic items, because I want you to discover them yourselves. But if you've played through the quest a few times and you're looking to explore, making sure you got all the clickies, making sure you got all the subquests, or you just want to kind of have some fun and not take it that seriously. I mean, it's AD&D, we got to take it seriously. In your opinion, the character classes that are fun to play. I'm going to offer 2. Right? I was trying to narrow it down to 1, and I was like, well, I could do 2 vlogs, but let's kind of narrow it down to 1. So I'm going to offer my 2. You can offer your 2, your 1, or even kind of build a list. So I want to define something fun as just, in my opinion, entertainment value. You play through the game a number of times. You know where things are. You know how things to work. You can have different tactical applications, but I sometimes like some kind of random wacky stuff to happen. So even if I played through an encounter numerous times, if the random wacky fun happens, it makes it entertaining. I'm not talking about wild mage fun. I've played a wild mage. I enjoy a wild mage, but that's just, if anyone is ever to actually do a wild mage playthrough without a reset hardcore mode, like the internet will stop, literally stop. That's how I know it's never been done. Wild Mage random can be fun and exciting, but it's going to blow up in your face eventually. I mean, that's the Wild Mage on there. And you can get certain items to control it or not overcast everything, but you've got that table, and it's going to happen. Something crazy is going to go on there. I'm talking about just random things that are not controllable, but are not going to like blow up in you. The first class, the funnest class to play. I wish it was named differently. I don't quite know what it would be. The Jester. First of all, bards are a lot of fun in Baldur's Gate because you have access to some weapons. You have access to spell-like abilities. You have access to minor thief abilities like pickpocket. And you've got your bard song. I was going to say bard song. I'm working my way through bard song right now on the tabletop. Fantastic game, but that is a vlog for another time to post up to the board gaming playlist here. But a bard, just generally speaking, where it's like, I'm not going to focus on being the best mage, the best fighter. I just want to kind of do a little bit of everything and have some fun. So I've got some cool pickpocket to just like pickpocket some stuff. I've got some spells to play around with. You got different ideas. A bard is fun. A bard is solid. The Jester with the bard song, do I really need to boost the party? Do I need to boost certain things? The Jester, by causing the chaos and confusion to monsters and causing them to react in different ways. With Baldur's Gate, it's a role-playing game, but really it's essentially a combat engine skinned to look like a role-playing game. And that's not a criticism. I love the game. But just parking and playing your song and watching things go berserk, because it will. It will, just on the numbers. I mean, saving throws are a lot different in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons than they are in the current D&D Matrix. And certain monsters, they have to roll really poorly to fail certain saving throws, or they might be so powerful your bard song, I was going to say bard sung, isn't really going to affect them. But combats being somewhat long and drawn out, just with the D20 dice mechanics being D&D, the monsters, the AI, the computer, whatever it's going to be, you're going to roll a 1 or 2. You're going to fail saving throws. You're taking saving throws every single turn. You're going to get blasted with it sooner or later. So from that perspective, it becomes a lot of fun. A lot of fun just to sit there, play your song, cast your spells, pickpocket stuff, play around with some interesting weapons. Yeah, it's kind of cool. But I think the Jester is really fun to play. And then as you go through later on in Siege and other areas, it still becomes potent. It doesn't scale up. Song doesn't scale up to godlike capabilities, but it's fun. It's fun because you know the encounter. You know, look, I'm going to go into this room, and there's going to be 20 hobgoblins. You pop off the song. They start doing weird and wacky things. It's kind of fun. Some encounters will have a boss or a lieutenant or kind of a named NPC that's going to be a little bit of a problem. It's fun to watch them pop off and do crazy stuff because you never really know, right? D&D, you roll some dice. So number one, I want to have some fun. I want to play light. I want to be entertained. You take the Jester. Second, who doesn't want to play a werewolf, right? The Druid class, the ability to shapeshift into a werewolf, that's kind of cool just on the perspective alone. Now, the werewolf kit itself, it was never fully implemented. And I know there's mods, and I know there's ways to change that. I'm approaching it from, and I'm not opposed to mods. I'm approaching it from the perspective of I play Baldur's Gate so much. I primarily play it on my phone or tablet. So I'm just doing kind of core install. Here you go. There's code in there that it should be more powerful than it is. Certain things don't quite work, but it's kind of cool to kind of bane out and turn into a werewolf. Plus the fact that you do have Druid abilities. So you've got the spells, and Druid spells, they've got some offensive spells, but they've got some fun spells and some interesting spells from that perspective. That combined with the ability to use certain weapons in the game, it's a lot of fun to play. BG1, you can actually turn into the werewolf and be a little bit more powerful than your current class and go and fight and exploit that. Boost your stats, gives you some extra attacks. It's fun. It's interesting to play. Siege, it starts to really grind. BG2, BG 2.5, at that point, like everything kind of outclasses you and you're just a druid without the super shape-shifting abilities. It's still fun, but now it becomes a grind. So that's my second vote because it's possibly not as fun, where the Jester is ironically just hilarious throughout the whole series. But I think these two character classes are ones that, like, they're not power game. They're not take things seriously. The Jester involves random, so you can't count on it. If I can chain cast multiple fireballs, I can count on that. If I have to count on dudes failing saving throws and essentially rolling ones or twos at certain points to do that, it's not always going to happen. But there's enough monsters in the game that it's going to happen at weird times, at wacky times, and just cause a lot of, in a good way, generalized chaos. Okay, turning it over to you guys. And like I said, I was going to just limit myself to one, but there's a lot of fun things to play. So it could be your top two, could be top three, could be a top list. Putting the metagame, putting hardcore permadeath run through, putting aside maximum min-max optimization. You're like, look, I just want to be chill. I want to run through. I want to have some fun. I want to be entertained. I want to do some cool things. I want to role play. What would be your number one class that you would vote for Baldur's Gate?